So I met an individual called Nick last year in October at one of my free London meetups, and I got speaking with him after the meetup, and he really made me think different on beginners starting Shopify dropshipping. He had this really crazy mindset and determination that he would be successful with e-commerce and dropshipping, and at the time he was doing okay. He was seeing sales, but he wasn't profitable. He wasn't making money. He's lost a few £1,000s whilst trying to do Shopify dropshipping, and he was saying to me that, look, I'm 35 years old, which is a lot older than most people that try Shopify dropshipping, and he's got all of these responsibilities. He's got a full-time job, he lives with his partner, he's got rent to pay, and he said, look, I'm going to make this business work, e-commerce, Shopify, dropshipping. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make money from doing this business model. And I said, okay, prove me wrong. I hear a lot of people at meetups, when I get on calls with them, when I see them in my Instagram DM, say, look, I am determined to see success. I am going to be successful. And sometimes I don't believe it because I hear it too much. And he has just proven me wrong time and time again since last year. And since last year, he's now been able to go part-time. He's now making £300 to £500 a day in profit. He's been able to achieve over £400,000 in revenue since he started e-commerce and Shopify dropshipping. Now, he went through a lot of problems. He had his own issues, and he's been able to prove everyone wrong. His family doubted him, his friends doubted him, his work colleagues doubted him, and now he's very close to going full time with Shopify dropshipping. And this student interview is going to show you guys that anyone from any walks of life, any responsibility, it doesn't matter if you've only got a bit of time after work to do e-commerce, you can make it work as long as you put the right effort, mindset, and you're willing to take on a certain amount of risk. So when you watch this student interview, guys, make sure you pay attention to everything Nick's saying. Make sure you check him out on Instagram, get to follow him, get to know him, because he's an incredible individual that's changed his life within the matter of 12 months. So guys, check out the interview and let me know what you think in the comments section below. So guys, welcome to the interview with Nick. The first question that I've got for you is, tell us a little bit about your life before e-commerce. What were you doing and how did you find out about e-commerce?
I'd flitted around between a number of different jobs, slowly trying to find out kind of, what made me tick. Never really wanted to stay in an office. I started climbing the ladder in terms of a sales job, started off in construction, moved on to sales, and then I got into a web agency and just went from there really. I became an account manager, so I was just looking after clients really, so I was helping them with their spend and selling more to them in terms of, website designs, widgets and stuff like that. So I was an account manager.
Now, what was the main motivation for you to get into e-commerce and become a side hustle, and why not just stick to the 9 to 5?
I was never really built for the 9 to 5. I didn't really understand why, there was someone else that had kind of decided, what my place was in society, or what my role was, or dictate what my salary was. So I kind of felt stuck in this kind of world where things were being dictated for me. And I was in the web design world anyway, and I came across e-commerce, and it just looked like something I wanted to do. I was absolutely in love with the craft itself, and loads of people were just getting really successful doing it. So I just saw people making some absolute serious money, and I thought, well, why not me?
Now, what did you struggle the most with before joining the mentoring program with your e-commerce business?
What didn't I struggle with? I suppose if I had to pick something, scaling was a big issue. So I'd made a little bit of success with ads and got a little bit of a living, but every time I tried growing, it was just an absolute minefield. So that was the massive thing for me, was trying to scale it outside of the box I was in, really.
And did you ever feel like giving up in your journey?
Loads, all the time. But I guess my goal was too big. So I heard a saying that your goal has to be bigger than your obstacle, and I think it's just a case of really wanting it badly enough, especially during those times where, you're working a lot on the business, and not getting a lot of feedback initially. So yeah, of course, it's very easy when you don't hit stuff straight away or get results straight away to feel like, you're banging your head against a brick wall. But I guess I just wanted it badly.
Now, what made you keep going during your hard times?
Yeah, that was it. It was mainly a case of, like I said, the goals I wanted. I think it's two things. One is obviously the goals were big. I wanted this really nice lifestyle. I wanted to feel financially comfortable. I loved e-commerce as a practice. But I think it's obviously the painful things as well, isn't it? That I think the alternative life just didn't make sense to me. I just didn't want it. Do you know what I mean? Like the financial hardship and supporting the family, just not wanting to be having things like finance and or a job that you hate tainting the discussion with your partner, with your family, you know, all throughout your life. So, yeah, I think it's wanting it badly enough and not wanting the alternatives badly enough.
Now, how did you hear about the e-commerce mentoring program?
Through YouTube, really. So I followed you for a little while, came across you either through YouTube searching for e-commerce content. I also looked up on things like Reddit saying, you know, where's the best place for me to learn things like that, and your name appeared there as well. And it's also like the tons of value that came alongside that channel as well. I just think when it came to finding out about you, I just naturally just led into the e-commerce mentoring program, really. First of all, the value you provided up front, and then into the mentorship program.
Now, what made you choose e-commerce mentoring instead of a course or another mentoring program? What made you actually come with us?
Courses before, and it didn't really get me as far. I think there was a little bit of a copy-paste vibe about it, and I think the course I'd enrolled in, I guess the person that was giving it kind of saw some success, but I don't know. The course just didn't really do it for me. And I think what pushed me over the edge with the mentoring side of things is that I trusted you straight off the bat. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd seen so many of your videos, and the stuff that I'd put in play off the back of them started working. Then when it came to the mentoring thing and having challenges, well, I thought, well, do you know what I mean? The trust was there already, which means that when it came to making a decision on that, it was kind of a no-brainer, really. So,
how was your experience during the mentoring? And please give the honest opinion.
Oh, mate, unbelievable! Like, my life has utterly changed. It's so weird. Like, you don't know what you don't know, I guess. So I spent a lot of time learning a lot of things and getting good at what I did, and there was just loads of gaps or loads of ways of thinking that I guess I hadn't considered before I came on. So you just get introduced to a new perspective by someone that's been there, that's more experienced, if that makes sense. So yeah, literally it's changed my life. Sorry.
And the famous question is, how many products did you have to test before you found something that actually did something?
How much of a famous answer I'm going to give to this? So in actual fact, my first product was fairly successful on the bat in terms of it was a problem that I had faced already, and I knew there were loads of people, but then the problem was kind of scaling. And as the product was seasonal, it started to go down a little bit, so we tried putting other products in place to try and come with an evergreen product, you know, one that lasted all year round. And so that was about 4 products we tested. So the first one was good. Like I said, it solved a problem. The second round, we had, you know, about 4 products. We fell over a little bit. We failed in areas before we actually got one that was started to be profitable. So,
how many hours a day did you work on your business to get it to be successful?
I can't really count. I absolutely went for it. It started off. I started running the business whilst I was working in my other job, so it would be in the evenings in my spare time. Whilst other people were, I guess, were like my family and stuff, they were sitting down with their spare time watching TV. I just decided to go absolutely mental on it and decided to learn as much as I could. So it was in the evenings, and it's literally just between the job and that, it consumed a fair amount of time. And then when I broke off from the job, it just I've worked on it from early hours in the morning into late at night as well. So
if you're working a full-time job a few days a week or every other day or every day, would you come home and work on your side hustle? And if you did, like, what's the most hours you've done in a day working a normal job and your side hustle to get it to becoming a main hustle?
Started work at 5 before and finished at 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know how many nights I could have done like that on the trot, really, but it's gone to those lengths. And even still now, I would get up in the morning, I'd start work maybe 7 o'clock and not finish till 11 o'clock at night. So yeah, I mean, the longest day has probably been about 5 o'clock until 1 o'clock the next morning, and then yeah, usual days for me, depending on what needs to be done, and there's always something to be done, I guess. So we hit it and then go early morning into the early hours. So.
What did you take from the mentoring that you wouldn't have been able to do yourself, even if you tried time and time and time again?
So you don't know what you don't know. So I think what I took from the mentorship program is conversion rate tactics for sure, straight off the bat. So like, you know, the power of having a really strong offer to what you're trying to give to your customers, things like bundles, things like upsells and resales, they make a massive difference. And it wasn't until I put that into practice that I really was an advocate for that. So yeah, and I think as well, mentorship as well. Again, like I said, coming and seeing someone that's been there, it's replicating a strategy that an experienced person has already has success with, that you can look at and tailor to your own, obviously context dependent. But I think those are the biggest things.
What was your most stressful moment in your early days of e-commerce?
Like things like New Year in the East. That was quite stressful. Even though I knew about it and had time to prepare, there were all sorts of problems, like the courier went on holiday and stuff. So I think it's on your journey where you come across those events where you didn't see something coming and you've had to tackle it. Well, you'll know for next time, but it's given you a little bit of a blow. And I think another stressful moment is switching from a seasonal product to another product to make up the shortfall. That was quite a stressful one for me.
How long after the mentoring program did you achieve success?
It was I think there was some actionable stuff that we could do straight off the bat. So I mean, that just literally just went from one level to the next.
Can you share some of the numbers that you've achieved? In terms of, you don't need to show now, because what I'll do is I'll edit the video and put a screen video of it and obviously cover the names and stuff. But can you just share some numbers, like what you did, what you've gone from to go into, something like that?
I mean, over a 3 to 4 month period over Christmas, I made about $170,000 in revenue. Just to share.
And what was the profit? Because the revenue sounds amazing, but did you make any profit during that time?
Yeah, it's a good shout. So that was about 5k profit. That was after advertising, so that was all net.
Wow.
A month.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, just to outline the journey a little bit, I started with about 300 quid in my pocket, and I just worked and saved a bit of money as I went. I made about 5k in the first, like, profit in the first season, and then I lost a load. And then coming into the next bit, yeah, it was about I took about 5k net per month after ad spend, and now since further development, we're now projecting like something like 9k profit after ad spend.
So for anyone watching this that says there's no money to be made with drop shipping or e-commerce, you can't make any profit, here you go, another success. What advice would you give to anyone looking to start an e-commerce business today?
There are more levers than just money. So obviously money is important, but there are more levers than just money. Time and experience are really, really important as well. So I would say learn the skills and use your time wisely. If you've got no money, you can always learn, like I said, you can always learn skills and implement skills. So I'd say first of all is like there are levers that you can pull. Secondly, I would say work tirelessly on yourself. So improve your mentality, the way you think, how you do business. Just constantly look on ways of improving you as a person, and how you handle pressure, what your skill set is, how you handle life. I think that's important. I'd say as well, don't give up. I think if you're doing those things and tirelessly working on yourself, you only really have to outlast the other guy. And I think loads of people give up like way too soon. So I'd say don't give up, because it could be literally just around the corner. And I think lastly, find other people in your space. So like, people seem to have this notion where they have to do stuff on their own. And I think finding a network or a community that helps you get there, you'll succeed quicker, you'll learn from other people's mistakes, and you'll be happier because you'll find friendships with people that are similar to you. And so the journey is way more fulfilling. So I would say that.
How did e-commerce impact your life after the mentoring? So what's e-commerce doing right now in your life, and how is it changing your life?
I mean, firstly, like, I'm a completely different man. It's weird. The numbers we're projecting now is the most money I've ever earned in my life, which is absolutely insane.
And how old are you, Nick?
Well, I mean, I'm 35 now, but I spent a lot of my 20s wasting time. In actual fact, I mean, this journey for me has probably been about 3 years long, and it's only the last year has been insane growth, and that is down to knowing people in the space and mentorship. Like it's absolutely skyrocketed. It's unbelievable.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because the first 2 years of your journey was a lot of testing, learning, trials, and not really seeing any success, actually losing lots of money, right?
And I guess 2 years worth of trying to learn as well, and trying to acquire the skills which you get by falling over loads and testing and trying and learning. So yeah, I mean the first 2 years initially were definitely that.
Why do you think most people starting e-commerce businesses fail? What do you think sets apart winning e-commerce business owners such as yourself from everyone else that fails constantly?
It's the first thing. I think if you have your heart set on something that you really want to do or be in your life, and you have a definiteness of purpose, then I think you can become really unstoppable. Just don't give up. I also think that people are event driven. They're not process driven. So people are just waiting for this big bang event. When in actual fact, life is a series of compound processes where you work at stuff, and sometimes without feedback, and then one day that will compound, and then it'll pay off. So don't just want the spoils straight away. It's a process. I think people give up at the first sight of failure, and I think as well people just pop up. Can sometimes pop up a store and just pop up an ad and expect it to work. But I think it's about e-commerce. It's about being involved in e-commerce. It's about living and breathing, deep learning how things like consumer psychology works, learning how to design, buying ads, and what makes good ad creative. So it's really about immersion and learning the skills as well. I think people tend to pop things up and just think success is just going to come out of the woodwork straight away. I mean, it's a craft for sure.
So thank you very much, Nick, for taking your time out today and coming on board and giving your honest truth to what you're doing. And what I'll do is I'll leave your Instagram in the description so people can follow you as a person, see what you're getting up to every single day and stuff like that.